hello, how are you doing? Welcome to Easy Track 360 from the fabulous island of Bali, Indonesia. As always, we will have a lot of information about the tours and activities to do. Unfortunately, this time we will also have bad news and negative experiences during the development of this documentary. Okay, ready? Let's start now. This is Easy Track 360.
Let's go!
This is the menu of activities we carried out, such as the visit to Nusa Dua Beach. Let's take a look at the cultural center Garuda Wisnu Kencana and the sculptural beaches of Menjiat. Our drone will take off and provide footage of Pandawa Beach, and we'll dance to the rhythms of salsa and bachata in exclusive Roosterfish Resort. We are taking you to the island of Nusa Penida, where 4 different wonders will leave you amazed. Rafting along the Telaga Wajah River is an adventure full of adrenaline. Snorkeling in the Blue Lagoon in the bay, we also reach the waterfall with a view of eye candy. We move to the Hili Archipelago and we'll show you the Indonesian version of Playa del Carmen, right there snorkeling and diving to explore and video the underwater museum with some extraordinary monuments. For the surfing lovers, we're going to discover their favorite place in Geger Beach. We'll provide all the information about visas, currency exchange, immigration processes, and general information. We'll also explain in detail how the law of no sex works outside marriage. A quick look at Bali Safari, and there's a lot more information.
Wow, this is gonna be extensive and we are just getting started. Okay, let's go.
Our first tour is to the island of Nusa Penida, located less than an hour from the Maharit Terbit Sanur Harbor in the city of Denpasar, just off of Maharit Terbit Beach. This tour is private and costs $80 or 1.2 million rupiahs. Perhaps, if you use public transport, the price will be much cheaper. Departure from the pier is at 8:30 a.m. While you wait, you can have breakfast for $12. Don't lose sight of your leader's flag, or you'll end up on the wrong island.
Then a speedboat transports you to the pier of the island of Nusa Penida, where different tourism providers wait to the customers to start the journey to the points of interest. It is a race against the clock to be the first to view the different landmarks. Some careless drivers want to get there first. To get here in Broken Beach, it takes 40 minutes in a high-speed boat and then 45 minutes drive in a car plus 10 minutes walk. It's a long journey just for a picture, but actually it works.
Our first stop was Broken Beach. There's no way down here unless you use kayaks to paddle to the arch. Most tourists, including me, took pictures very close to the shore reef without considering the consequences. To our surprise, the next day, a tourist from India fell into the void, losing his life, which was truly lamentable. From Broken Beach, we walked a few minutes to get to Angel's Billabong. These volcanic formations and dead corals are impressive. A simple slip would have catastrophic consequences for your vacation. Nevertheless, it is still a fascinating place for photography, as enjoyed by these beautiful girls from India.
Continuing with our tour, it was time for lunch. Unfortunately, not buffet style.
Our fourth stop is the majestic Keling King. These islets and their beach in the background are the reason why we traveled to Bali. The sporadic rain did not impede our enjoyment of the view. It takes 45 minutes to descend to the beach and at least 2 hours to hike back uphill, as the guide told me. If I wanted to make the bed, I had to stay to sleep on the island. No problem, we'll come back prepared next time.
Finally, the guide takes us to Crystal Bay Beach, where we snorkel with rough surf. The photographs on the internet do not represent the reality of the place.
Sí, yo motivo a que vengan para acá, para Bali, a conocer. Creo que hay un montón de cosas por hacer. Hay muchos templos por ver, la cultura por conocer, muchos lugares naturales, cascadas, los campos de arrozales que son hermosos, bueno, las playas. Hay un montón de opciones y creo que te llevas como un aprendizaje importante de lo que ellos sienten, de lo que ellos transmiten sobre lo que para ellos es la vida, que es estar bien con su Dios, bien con su familia.
This beach is made of volcanic sand, and the area near the sea is not optimal for diving. However, it is still a pleasant place for sunbathe and relax with a cocktail of your liking. Personally, it was delight to savor roasted corn, better known in Colombia as chocolo.
Chocolo. Yeah, chocolo.
From Crystal Bay, we return to the pier, where we wait for the speedboat that takes us back to Bali. In the meantime, we take advantage of the time to play some salsa and bachata and dance with the tourists who were arriving.
The next tour consists of rafting, snorkeling at the Blue Lagoon, and ending at the waterfall, with a cost of $112. Having no time limitations is an advantage when taking a private tour.
The departure was at 6 a.m. to avoid the congestion of Bali during peak times. It took us more than an hour and a half to get to Pandang Bai, where you can take the ferry or speedboat to the archipelago of Gili. Later, we will explain why it is not advisable to leave from this port. For $20, the guide takes you to 2 locations for snorkeling at a depth of more than 3 meters for an hour. When we arrived, that's when we began to notice the presence of garbage in the sea. In the bay, we made the first dive, and being the first to arrive, we had more possibilities to enjoy our greater freedom. Oxygen tanks for diving are available in the Blue Lagoon. Once you return, you can use the shower to clean the salt water off. Leaving from Pandang Bai, we drove for an hour or 2 through the mountains of Desa Tengku. A building didn't attract attention, but as the door was open, we decided to enter. Luckily, there were no dogs, and its owner kindly allowed us to take some shots. They belonged to a sisterhood with members of different nationalities. When we observed their European followers, we almost told our guide to leave us there.
Finally, we arrived at one of the rafting and canoeing providers in the area. It is approximately more than 15 kilometers over the rapids through the Telagawaya River. The cost was $45. The number of visitors was low, which makes prices negotiable. Quite the opposite when there is a great demand from tourists. Although the river is not deep, its flow makes very dangerous, and the chances of an accident are high. You must be very attentive to the instructions of your guide. There is a stop at the waterfall, but each provider is assigned a different one. Finally, you arrive at your destination, where our driver and guide await you. Once you use the shower, lunch is served. In this same area, ATVs are available, but due to the amount of tourists, we decide not to do it. It has an additional cost of $50.
Continuing with our itinerary, we drove for 30 minutes to the famous waterfall. It cost $2. You must ascend the stairs until you reach the base of the mountain to find more than a waterfall. We would call it a trickle of water. We thought the famous cascade would be bigger than the one in San Luis Potosi, like Tamil. But fortunately, the natural view of the area was more attractive and worth descending.
Estamos disfrutando mucho de, sobre todo, la naturaleza. La gente nos parece muy amable, muy encantadora. A diferencia de otros países asiáticos, es verdad que la gente no te reclama, no te pide, no te agobia, simplemente está ahí, recibe si tú quieres aportar algo, pero no te molesta, ¿vale? En ningún momento. Cuidado que te derramas.
Ruben told us that there are boat tours on the rivers in the sea that take you from island to island on a journey of several days. It sounds interesting and romantic.
We finally returned to our hotel to have a dinner at my favorite fast food restaurant in California, Yoshinoya. It brings back many memories when I was very poor and undocumented in Los Angeles.
We changed direction and sailed to the archipelago of the Gili Islands. Speedboats depart from the terminal in Pandang Bai at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Our guide charged us $33 for round-trip transportation to our hotel, and for the return ticket, they charged us $47. You might find a cheaper provider. This tour requires a hotel reservation. Otherwise, you'll not be able to enjoy and get to know the islands in just a couple of hours. The boat takes more than an hour and a half to arrive. The company that offered us the service took the boat with too many passengers. During our return the next day, we were notified that the boat would not arrive that day at 3 in the afternoon. This type of scam is very common, as the locals told me, to make tourists buy another return ticket. Unfortunately, we had to be in Bali, and we had no other choice but to pay $350,000 and coordinate with our driver for another arriving port.
Something that I have learned is that from Matari Terbit Sanur Harbor in the city of Denpasar, speedboats depart to the Gili Islands. Just be alert for travelers' scams. Arriving in Gili Trawangan is like being in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. Our hotel was a few blocks from the pier, although the presence of tourists was much greater because it is a very popular destination. There were not enough visitors to create a rumba atmosphere.
Live music livens up each restaurant, and the dance floor in this nightclub is perfect, but it is not the high season. We want to thank all the artists who allowed our camera to record them to share their talent with the world. You will find excellent restaurants along the beach, and for 200,000 rupias, this delicious buffet has no competition. They were saved because we weren't hungry. Also, for those on a budget, the Market restaurant offers a variety of seafood at cheaper prices. For anyone who wants to go to the moon, mushroom cocktails are offered, and poor quality marijuana is available. Here, drugs are illegal, but you can visit Las Vegas and get it for free, courtesy of the state of Nevada. Just roll your car windows down while driving down Highway 15, and the secondhand marijuana THC smoke won't give you cancer, but it'll make you feel high.
Guess what I found while walking down the main strip in Gili? Chocolos!
Yes, chocolo, chocolo. Yes, chocolo, chocolo.
I will call this town the Little Playa del Carmen because instead of the 3 or 4 kilometers on 5th Avenue, this is only 500 meters, but all the commerce, nightclubs, restaurants, shops are on this main strip, and you will see a lot of beautiful people. The next day we embarked on a private snorkeling tour for 900,000 rupias, which we shared with a couple from France.
We departed at 8 o'clock in the morning for our first diving spot, with a depth of no more than 3 meters. It was challenging to spot marine life despite the vibrant colors, but we were fortunate to encounter the area's potential mascot, a turtle. Later, we arrived at our second stop, just off of Ili Air Island. What immediately caught our attention was the significant amount of garbage floating in the sea around the island. The boat made a stop at Ili Air Beach, where you could relax for an hour, sunbathe, or have lunch. Prices were quite affordable. However, we couldn't help but think about the need to clean the beach and address the garbage issue. As we had done during our visit to the Maldives, it's a realization that no one can save this planet single-handedly. The concentration of garbage on the beach was substantial. Even though locals claimed they cleaned the areas in front of the businesses, we asked what happened beyond their business areas, and no one had an answer.
Unfortunately, they are inadvertently contributing to the destruction of their jobs and the local ecosystems by allowing garbage to enter the sea. It's disheartening to see people more focused on social media and the internet than on cleaning up their environment. This same tour can be done for 100,000 rupees in a group.
So you have a paradisaic island, and next to it, like 2 minutes by boat. It's very dirty. So that's the main problem in Asia.
So what do you think the locals should do?
I don't have the solution. I don't live here, so I'm not no one to say what they have to do, but I think they need to ban plastic, first of all. And yeah, when you have like snorkeling, how do you say in English? Snorkeling places like this, you have a lot of fish. It's not good to have a lot of plastic like this in the water. So yeah, maybe ban the plastic would be good.
People always on social media, they show the best picture, but I like to show actually the real.
Yeah, we need to see to how do you say? Sorry, my English is not very good.
That's what Celia Cruz used to say. My English is not very good looking. You know who Celia Cruz was?
No.
The queen of salsa music.
Salsa music?
Yeah, she's one of the best singers all the time.
Yeah, no, definitely we need to do some brigades, fines, and educate the population, because we're speaking about tourists, but I think tourists do this because locals do it. If you're in a country where it's clean, you don't want to make it dirty. So yeah, it's about education.
Finally, the tour took us to the underwater museum, which lies at depths of less than 4 meters. As more boats arrived in the area, the number of tourists increased, making it challenging to navigate around the sculptures. Nevertheless, it was still a spectacle to observe these marvelous pieces of art, which I prefer to call mermaids. They breathe life and color into the site. Among the Gili Islands, there is a highly popular area for surfers. Unfortunately, due to our time constraints, we couldn't visit it. After this activity, we returned to the beach. As we mentioned earlier, the return journey to Bali was an unpleasant experience. Beware of scams. One of the advantages of staying in the city of Kuta is its proximity to the airport, as well as the low prices for learning surfing and kite surfing. Kuta also offers a variety of restaurants in Kuta Square and the opportunity to walk along the beach. Unfortunately, the beaches in Kuta are quite disappointing. When you see them, you might exclaim, "What a lousy beach!" The constant presence of sellers every 2 meters offering the same services and products can become an uncomfortable nuisance. To our surprise, we observed a girl sunbathing almost amidst the garbage, and couples were walking along the seashore trying to avoid the rubble of garbage.
During our time there, we met a German tourist who strongly encouraged us to visit other areas of Bali where the beaches are clean and there is a larger presence of tourists.
Yeah, it's, as you can see, it's there's a lot of pollution here, a lot of rubbish. You're better off going elsewhere to enjoy the sights of Bali, surfing or the water or the other atmosphere, rather than in Kuta is very dirty.
Grateful for this information, we hired a driver who for $50, he took us on a private 8-hour tours to various places of interest on the island.
Our first stop was Geger Beach in Nusa Dua, an hour away from Kuta. This area is where the wealthier residents of Bali live and where surfing enthusiasts enjoy waves ranging from 2 to 5 meters, or perhaps even higher, depending on the wind and currents. The entrance fee is 5,000 rupiah per person, and there's an additional charge of 5,000 rupiah for the car.
Yeah, like this time of year, the east coast is really good for surfing because the wind is better. But yeah, it's a good wave. It's a nice area. Like, yeah, it's beautiful. It's good for surfers. Like, it gets big waves like out the back, and then even if you're still learning or beginning, you can kind of go over to that side, and it's good.
And you are the only girl among all the guys, right? Not too many girls do that.
Yeah, not too many girls. I don't know why. It's just not a spot for girls, I guess.
We then proceeded to Menjiat Beach in Nusa Dua, which costs 2,000 rupiah for the entrance fee and 5,000 rupiah for parking. While touring its beaches, we noticed a higher quality with a striking contrast between the turquoise sea and the presence of many sculptural and friendly Russian girls. In the end, we even taught them to dance bachata on the beach.
1, 2, 3, leg. 1, 2, 3, leg.
Let's continue. Our next stop was the Garuda Wisnu Kencana Cultural Center, which charges an entrance fee of 150,000 rupiah and an additional 150,000 rupiah if you want to enter the gigantic monument, plus parking.
Time was limited and it was decided to change the destination to the spectacular view from the mountains in Padawa. Upon arriving at the seashore, a group of girls lined up to take pictures with a guy from Armenia, Europe. When I asked if the guy was famous, they say no, he's just very handsome. Later, I was teaching the girls to dance bachata too. No, put the rhythm. Just as we were leaving the parking lot, we found Rosterfish Resort, which announced Latin tropical evenings on Instagram with dancing. Luckily for us, we met this girl from Ukraine. Thank you, Ekaterina, for your kindness and for participating in my documentary. But nothing is perfect, and a store put a hold on the party. Bad luck. This is common in Bali, but they are temporary. Finally, the driver took us to our hotel, ending the tour. And speaking of nightlife, during our stay in Kuta, Latin nights were advertised in the Cuban restaurant, which is why I booked it in the city. But every time I visited them, they had nothing. The nightlife in Bali has to be in more exclusive areas with greater flow of tourists and during the high peak season, regardless of the musical genre.
We must also keep in mind that we are in a global recession during the production of this documentary. With a ridiculous war of psychopaths in power and a lingering COVID that still surrounds us and almost has left us broke, one thing we probably learned from Bali is that not every Russian we met carries the stupid stereotypes they want to indoctrinate us with. Now let me explain the procedure in Bali. We traveled to Singapore on a 14-hour flight from San Francisco. This airport is super modern and practical, making it an excellent hub. Upon arrival in Bali, you can buy your visa for $35. We tried to acquire it online, but it was a headache.
Afterward, you need to join the immigration line and head to the carousels to claim your luggage. Before leaving the airport, you have to fill out a form online and either print it or take a photo of the QR code. If the airport Wi-Fi is slow, there are computers at the counters to help you with this procedure. As you exit the custom area, you will find suppliers offering SIM cards for your phone, which is a very necessary service for communications and it's cost effective.
Saat semua begitu sempurna, sayang untuk mengaguminya.
Use the Grab app, equivalent to Uber, for your transportation to the hotel. Alternatively, you can visit the Grab counter and they will assist you with the reservation. Inside the airport, the currency exchange rates are not very favorable. During our trip, the exchange rate was 15,357 rupias for $1. It's preferable to exchange currency at banks to receive a higher value. On the street, you'll often get a lower rate and bills in poor condition might not be accepted or the exchange rate will be much lower.
Personally, due to the excellent service I received from my guide and driver, I decided to pay for the tours in dollars and a slightly less favorable exchange rate. However, the peace of mind of being able to focus on my recordings and enjoy my vacation without worrying about time, with flexibility and peace is priceless. Something that shocked us a lot when we were near the Hard Rock Cafe was finding a baby with his mother sleeping on the street. Our guide told us that in many cases these people prefer to beg rather than work because they can earn more money this way. Unfortunately, every case is different and I had no way to prove it, so I like to help as much as I can.
There are other tours to do, such as Bali Safari, which has a cost of 800,000 rupias. We didn't actually do it because we considered it more family-oriented. The food in Bali is very economical. I recommend always carrying disposable towels or toilet paper because some areas are quite impoverished and the bathrooms are not in the best condition. However, they only charge 5,000 rupias to use them, and that helps support local families. Finally, I would like to address a very serious issue that has transcended worldwide.
There is a lot of controversy globally because of the new law here in Indonesia, no sex outside the marriage. So Johnny, our guy, is gonna explain to us how that works.
No panocha, puñeta only!
And tell your chauffeur to take you to the aquarium in case you don't have a dance partner.
Thanks to all the locals and tourists who made this documentary possible, especially to my private guy. If you have positive or constructive comments, please share them on my channel. If you are going to complain or say something negative, send them to Putin. Explore the world through the lens of my camera. This is Easy Track 360.